One of my favorite movies in the last few years to come out was Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Todd Phillips. Man, what a movie, right? I mean, I don't keep it too far away. Loved it. You can see back there. Got me a little Joker artwork there. I mean, like, that's how much I love it. From the story to the acting. And one of my favorite pieces was the cinematography. And for those that don't know, I myself am a filmmaker. Got me a couple of little awards back there. But I'm an internationally award-winning filmmaker for various categories, be it the film itself or writing or cinematography, directing, or whatnot. So I appreciate all that. And one of my specialties is the cinematography. So really enjoyed Joker for that. They did a fantastic job. Huge fan. I got super excited when I heard there was going to be a sequel. Well, let me back it up a little bit. First of all, the movie didn't need a sequel. I still don't think it needs a sequel. But I heard Joaquin was going to be back, and he doesn't do sequels. So Joaquin was going to be back. Todd Phillips is going to be back. So I'm like, okay, this is sounding really promising. I'm actually kind of getting excited for this sequel. And then I heard Lady Gaga was attached. And I was like, well, that doesn't sway me any more happy or sad or whatever. I don't know that much of her as far as acting goes. I've seen her on American Horror Story for a few episodes, I think, and hadn't really kept up with that show much. I know she's done, some other shows and done great things, or not shows, movies, but I haven't seen them. I don't know. She may be a terrible actress. She may be one of the greatest actresses of all time. But if someone's going to play that role, I can see her in it for sure. Harley Quinn. But yeah, I was like, okay, all right. So we got Lady Gaga on board. That's an interesting choice. But then I heard why, and I heard that it was going to be a musical, and I am not a musical fan. Catch me watching a few musicals that I do appreciate. Wizard of Oz, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, even Grease. Some of the classics. I like those for what they are. But yeah, I don't particularly want to sit down and watch a musical. So I'm interested to see what they do, though. I'm interested to see how much of a true musical this is, or how they change it up. And knowing Todd Phillips, he'll change it up, I'm sure. We did cover this before. Actually, I think I covered it on Mayhem Reacts. I did a review of the one of the trailers that came out. But I think I also covered it here, just kind of talking about the gist of the story. So, I won't go into depths on my emotions and feelings on that. I do want to see it, though. I for sure want to see it. One of the best movies I've seen in the last few years has got a sequel. Part of me really wants to see it, to see what they do. And part of me is like, man, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want them to mess this up. And it's like when you eat something so good and it's got multiple pieces, whether it's like peanuts or it's French fries or something like that, and you're eating it and it's so good. And you get down to the last one. The last one's, the peanut's a little rotted. It has that dull kind of flavor, or that last French fry's a little burnt, or doesn't have any seasoning on it, or maybe it's really soggy for some reason, sat there too. I don't know. But it's like that. I don't want it to be like that. Of course I'm going to associate things with food, right? But Joker left such a great taste in my mouth. I want to follow it up with something that's, equal, as close to equal as possible. I don't want to put a soggy potato chip in there that my kid had when she was a baby and put it back in the bag. I don't want that. Give me something good. Give me something good. I will say, though, we're going to go ahead and get into this. They've already got it out at, I know they showed it at a festival. We've already got some critic responses back on it. And it seems to be kind of a mixed bag, if I'm not understating it or overstating it here. This from the Daily Mail. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga's musical Joker sequel hits a few sour notes. And I don't know if I can say this still. Folie à deux gets mixed reviews. Yeah, I'll probably never say it right. Sorry. Joker Part 2, baby. All right, it says early reactions to Joker Part 2. suggest a blend of brilliance and boredom, leading to a mixed bag of reviews. The film sees the return of Joaquin Phoenix's Oscar-winning portrayal of Arthur Fleck / Joker, and the addition of pop powerhouse Lady Gaga as Joker's love interest Harley Quinn. Premiering to a full house at the Venice Film Festival on Wednesday, the eagerly awaited sequel to Todd Phillips' billion-dollar hit divided critics. While some found it superior to the acclaimed 2019 film, that's going to be a tough one for me to buy. You know, critics come in all shapes and sizes and colors and visuals and likes and dislikes and, you know, all this and that. Squishy, soft, hard, whatever. Everybody likes something different. So it's such a mixed bag when it comes to critics. I don't find myself agreeing with a lot of them, and I do think a lot of them are kind of paid shills to get benefits and stuff. But more on that from Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic and those guys. You can go listen to them. Or one of our channel's friends, the Talking Nerds. They talk about that stuff too. Link to them will be in the description below as well, by the way. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be superior. That's a tough sell for me. While some found it superior to the acclaimed 2019 film and lauded the performances of both Phoenix and Gaga, others slammed Joker as derivative and devoid of fun. I think people just try to look for ways to use the word derivative. I hear it all the time, but I didn't always. And I feel like that's one of those fun words people like to throw around. And I mean, again, she's probably going to do just a fine job. She probably is. Joaquin's going to knock it out of the park. That's what he does. I don't know, man. Owen Gleiberman appeared a bit less impressed in his review for Variety, writing that the Cracked Jukebox musical had an audacious concept, but in a basic way, it's an overly cautious sequel. IndieWire's David Ehrlich took a bit of a harsher tone, saying the 138-minute flick, for 2 hours, okay, flick is boring, flat, and a criminal waste of Lady Gaga, adding it feels bad on purpose. Yet Phillips has created a corporate pop spectacle that all demands to be seen as something else. Here's a movie that perversely denies audiences everything they've seen or everything they've been conditioned to want from it, gently at first, and then later with the unmistakable hostility of a knife to the gut. Ain't lying, that's pretty harsh right there. And that's where where's it at? A couple things that bothers me or concerns me. Create a corporate pop spectacle. You know, because the first one, I hate that crap pops up. Corporate pop spectacle. I hope it didn't get too Hollywoodized, too corporate, too many studio heads in there messing with them. I mean, Todd Phillips took a shot in the dark. He's like, I'm going to make this film. Let's see what it does. It made less than Avengers Endgame as far as overall box office and gross. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was more profitable because of the budget being significantly lower. So I'm sure they love that. And they're like, oh, let's make another one and let's make it better. And let's get the studio heads more involved. And let's, tinker around with this idea and that idea. So it's quite possible. And I was concerned about that going into it. So to hear that kind of makes me think somebody else picked up on it. The other thing that bothers me about this, here's a movie that perversely denies audiences everything they've been conditioned to want from it. What does that mean? I know what I'm looking for. I don't know if we're all in the same boat in this, but the first Joker pretty much set up the tone. If we completely change that up and it's nothing like the first one at all, I think that could suck. However, I will say, two films that I absolutely love from one filmmaker, Rob Zombie, House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, are two completely different films. Same actors. Well, I mean, they swapped out some actors, but same characters, same concept to a degree of, the dynamics of the characters and whatnot, but told in two completely different ways, two completely different styles, and it worked. In fact, the sequel, The Devil's Rejects, actually became a bigger hit than House of a Thousand Corpses, the original. I like them both for different reasons. House of a Thousand Corpses still has a special place in my heart, But yeah, Devil's Rejects was pretty awesome. So it can be done. It can be done for sure. And I know there's others out there that you can point to, but it's not something that's done all the time, to be fair. Let's see. And that, more than anything else, is why Part 2 adopts the form of a classic musical, because no other genre makes it so easy to appreciate all the fun you're not having. In contrast, Alex Harrison of Screen Rant describes Joker as a more refined sequel designed to provoke fans of the original film. Joker Part 2 has more coherent things to say about fan culture than it or its predecessor does about mental illness, which for me makes it the superior of the two, he stated. Wonder what that means. Has more coherent things to say about fan culture. I hope it's not going to end up being one of those that's like an attack on the fans, kind of like She-Hulk was. Remember that? If you're not familiar, a lot of people covered that. I didn't cover it. Again, Talking Nerds, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kennel, all these guys talked about how the big payoff of She-Hulk, or the big goal of She-Hulk, was to basically insult the fans of Marvel and whatnot, the nerds, the die-hard committed fans. So they wanted to piss them off, which makes sense, I guess, right? Well, they saw their numbers, and they know it's not always a winning thing to do. Look, I'm not going to read every single one of these. As per usual, the links will be in the show notes below. You can go back and read this yourself. But as you see here, I mean, we've already gotten to a few of them, leaning kind of negative. Some positives there. And again, it really depends on the critic's taste as to what you're going to get from feedback from them. So don't know how good it is, don't know how great it is. To be fair, I'm still probably going to go see it and give it a chance. And who knows? Will you go see it? Are you interested in seeing it? Were you ever interested in seeing it? From the time it was announced, to the time you found out Gaga was involved, to the time you found out it was a musical, to hearing this. Is it something that you wanted to see at all? Is it something you're still going to see or still planning on seeing? And if it is it a trip to the theater watch, or is it a wait till it comes out on a streaming platform kind of watch? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. You've heard mine.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.